Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome you once again to the Heritage Foundation's virtual President's Club meeting. As we approach the end of 2020, a year with a deadly pandemic, a crushing economic shutdown, brutal riots, and a contested presidential election, it often feels as though things can't get any worse. Yet the left sees these very moments when the American people are overwhelmed and tired as opportunities to push its destructive agenda. They won't stop promoting socialist climate policies, identity politics, racial division, bending a knee to our worst enemies, and speech codes and penalties for offending the sensibilities of the woke. We're seeing this play out before our eyes. First, the media rushed to declare Joe Biden president-elect before all the legal votes could be counted and legal challenges could be settled. Next came a wave of Biden nominees whose far-left ideas have been tried and failed miserably. Meanwhile, the threats continue to grow. Americans are feeling anxious. They've lost confidence in our electoral process. They're worried about 2 Senate races in Georgia that could determine whether America still looks like America 2 years from now. Instead, this time for us, we must unite. Conservatives must work together in common cause and fight back. Those who believe that this country's founding principles are what gave us the greatest land of opportunity and the freest and most prosperous nation on earth must work together to keep her. Those who know that those same principles will propel us to a day that's brighter than this one must work to ensure a future that fulfills the promises of our forefathers. It's in times like these that I'm reminded of the motto, "United we stand, divided we fall." Let me be clear. I'm not talking about the cheap talk of politicians who claim to be uniters, but who instead seek to divide us. For the left, unity means submission to their ideas. Let me share a little bit of history with you. The motto, "United we stand, divided we fall," has been used since the time of the American Revolution, originating with a patriotic ballad called the Liberty Song. It was written in 1768, and the song was meant to rouse patriots to fight against tyranny for their very liberty. It was meant to give them courage and a hope and a united purpose. During the Civil War, the motto became a rallying cry for the Union cause as the North not only fought against the scourge of slavery, but fought to keep our Union one. In World War II, "United we stand" was invoked not just to declare American patriotism, but to show unity among the Allied nations. And in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, "United we stand" reemerged once again, appearing on flags, billboards, and bumper stickers, and uniting us against an enemy that sought to destroy everything America stood for. Each time in every reincarnation, "United we stand" was about coming together during our most difficult times to fight for the very existence of our country. It was about putting aside differences we had and fighting for the cause of freedom. It was about not letting this great and precious gift we've been given slip from our grasp. And the second part of that motto, "Divided we fall," was meant to tell us what would happen if we didn't stand united, if we fought amongst ourselves, if we became parochial in our thinking, if we let ourselves get distracted about the little things while our nation was under attack. After the November elections, some on the left sheepishly have asked if the conservative movement is dead. To them I say, absolutely not. I've seen conservative setbacks several times in my lifetime, and we always fight back and bounce back. Folks, we aren't going anywhere, and we have darn good reasons to be optimistic. The reality is that the November elections will be remembered for how the conservative movement actually made substantial gains, even with Americans who hadn't traditionally supported conservatives before. Contrary to all the pollsters and the media prognosticators, voters rejected the far left's agenda, and rather than adding to the liberals' numbers in the House of Representatives, governor's offices, and even state legislatures, the people sent even more conservatives to office. Heritage has already welcomed many of these incoming members of Congress at our new members orientation last month, making sure that they know Heritage is here to support them with recommendations on both policy and staffing. And in the Senate, several conservatives who were supposed to lose by double digits easily fended off left-wing challengers. With 2 undecided Senate races in Georgia, I don't have to tell you how much keeping the Senate matters. Our colleagues at Heritage Action have quite literally packed up and already moved to the state last month. They have a goal of reaching out to more than 1.5 million voters to help push the conservatives over the finish line. And one of the most compelling statistics from the 2020 election was President Trump's historical gains with a broad coalition of Americans. He increased his percentage of Black, Latino, and Asian American voters over 2016 despite the media's attempts to tarnish his image at every turn. Many of these new conservative voters are attracted to the conservative message because conservative policies just work better for everyone. More people are beginning to see how conservative solutions can grow the economy, create good-paying jobs, give them more affordable healthcare choices, and reform our broken immigration system. They've already seen how cutting taxes and regulations give rise to the greatest economic expansion in American history and the lowest unemployment rate in 5 decades. They saw how conservative policies made America an energy exporter and less reliant on foreign sources. They saw how conservatives prioritized veterans' care and worked to rebuild our national defenses against increasing threats around the world. The Heritage Foundation not only championed these policies, we will continue to develop solutions to address America's biggest issues, no matter who occupies the White House or who holds the majority in Congress. Heritage has fought for the interest of the American people for nearly 50 years and through 12 presidential elections, and we're here to stay. At the same time, we'll also fight against proposals to raise taxes on American families. We'll push back against efforts to create government-run health care or pass an economy-killing Green New Deal. And we'll fight attempts to create an ever more intrusive government that threatens our liberties. Ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, Heritage will never, ever stop fighting for America. I'd like to read you 2 important verses from the Liberty Song, the original source of United We Stand. Come join hand in hand, brave Americans all, and rouse your bold hearts at liberty's call. No tyrannous acts shall suppress your just claim or stain with dishonor America's name. I am so excited about this evening because I have the honor of presenting some very special awards to 3 truly amazing conservative leaders. The first award I'll be presenting is Heritage's Salvatori Prize for American Citizenship. This award was established in memory of Henry Salvatori, an American immigrant, successful entrepreneur, and a truly great patriot. He devoted his life to strengthening the foundations of American liberty. Mr. Salvatori became the leader of the small group of individuals, the Kitchen Cabinet, who encouraged Ronald Reagan to first enter politics. Throughout the years, he was concerned not only with the external communist threat to the free world, but also with the more fundamental problem of internal cohesion, a sense of purpose, and the self-confidence of the United States. The legacy he left us is one of sharing his deep love for his adopted country by supporting organizations like Heritage that work to promote and preserve American history, culture, and founding principles for future generations. Let's watch as Attorney General Ed Meese tells us a little more about Henry Salvatori.
Henry Salvatori was a very successful businessman. He was a great student of American history, particularly the founding. He was very impressed by George Washington and many of the others there who had started this country, and he became a great patriot. He gave a good deal of money to philanthropic purposes, particularly for educational institutions, a number of different colleges, to promote the study of the United States history, particularly the founding, and of the American culture and American principles, constitutionalism, things such as that. Well, Henry Salvatori loved America. The Salvatori Prize, which is established by the Heritage Foundation in memory and appreciation for Henry Salvatori, is looking to people and organizations that promote American principles, constitutionalism and the rule of law, and who are active in making this a better country in the image that the founders began.
Tonight, it's my honor to announce that Heritage's 2020 Salvatori Prize for American Citizenship recipient is Bob Woodson, head of the 1776 Unites Project and a founder of the Woodson Center, a nonprofit that helps residents of low-income neighborhoods across America address the problems in their communities.
Robert Woodson Sr., a civil rights activist, a patriot, a man deeply invested in equipping people to make a difference. For 5 decades, Bob has devoted himself to a great cause, the transformation of individual lives, of schools, and of troubled neighborhoods from the inside out. Bob believes that the best source of solutions comes from within the neighborhoods that are affected. Rather than parachute programs into low-income communities, Bob and his team from the Woodson Center come alongside those residents and organizations, often faith-based, that are already addressing the problems. His neighborhood-based efforts to combat drugs and alcohol and create violence-free zones have radically transformed the lives of tens of thousands of people in D.C., Baltimore, Milwaukee, Richmond, Indianapolis, Chicago, and Dallas. Bob has provided important counsel to presidents, governors, and federal and state legislators time and time again. His fingerprints are all over legislation that has made Americans safer, freer, and driven hope in local communities. Over the past 2 years, Bob's organization has launched a special project, 1776 Unites, an antidote to the 1619 Project and other toxic narratives about American history. Bob has been an invaluable partner to Heritage in promoting policies that build an America where freedom, opportunity, prosperity, and civil society flourish. In 2020, this included assisting the efforts of the National Coronavirus Recovery Commission in creating recommendations to protect both the lives and livelihoods of Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bob has also been a leader in Heritage's civics reform group of over 45 organizations working to loosen the left's grip on civics curriculum in our schools and promote a love for America and the American story among our young people. For these reasons, the Heritage Foundation is honored to bestow the Salvatori Prize on Bob Woodson for living a life dedicated to upholding and advancing the principles of the American founding.
Bob, you were one of the first people I met when I came to Washington decades ago, and you've been a mentor to me ever since. On behalf of all of us at the Heritage Foundation, we are proud to present you with our 2020 Salvatori Prize for American Citizenship. Congratulations, Bob.
I want to thank Kay James, head of the Heritage Foundation, for this award. Kay and I go back many, many years when she first came to Washington, D.C., and we labored together in helping our country. Heritage Foundation has been critical to the history of the Woodson Center. After all, the Scaife Foundation gave Heritage a grant that enabled us to incorporate. They loaned us out their lawyer, Jim Lehrfeld, and for 12 years he became our attorney. And I walked side by side with Heritage. And so we're just delighted that I'm giving the Salvatori Award. He was a marvelous man and a person who put principle above friendships and put the country first. And I'm just delighted to have received this award in his name. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Bob. You truly represent Henry Salvatori's vision for building a better America for future generations.